Good afternoon, everybody. Good afternoon. Good afternoon. Welcome to the show. Welcome to the show. We are excited to have you today. It's Friday. We gotta thank God it's Friday. We just live to see another week, which is always an appreciation we should give. But yeah, there's quite a bit to talk about, quite a bit to share. A lot of stuff is going on. A lot of stuff is going on right now, and we got to inform people. We got to get their input. We got to solicit ideas and make sure that the input is valued. So just tell you a little story. My man, my pet, my dog, Tux, he be having a little bit of problems. Took him to the vet a couple of days ago. Unfortunately, he has a little enlarged heart. He's been feeling some pain, whether in his spine or his leg. I'm not sure which. But the X-rays show that he was fine. Did the X-rays. Um, so he's feeling a little better. He's being constipated. We've been giving him some little thing from the doctor to help ease him. We hope that works for him. Pets are expensive. I don't even want to say how much we pay for the entire body X-ray, the leg X-rays, just to identify what's going on with him. But when you're taking on responsibility, sometimes you got to meet it. So this week has been a hot week for the news. Mr. Cummings featured prominently in the news this week. He focused on darkness, right? And the darkness, I believe, was precipitated by this entire situation with the airport. Not that darkness didn't already exist, but the whole situation with the airport exacerbated the darkness situation, the darkness issue, the darkness discussion. So we need to share with you, some of the thoughts on darkness. What is Mr. Cummings saying? So I would kind of read along what Mr. Cummings is saying with regard to darkness. And then, some of you can get your feedback about what it is. Is there real darkness, or, is it an imagination thing? So let's look at what he's saying here. I believe this is it, right? So yesterday, Mr. Cummings says, Liberia, too dark and too dangerous on Weah. So under President Weah, Liberia has become too dark and too dangerous. Liberia's darkness is not only in a lack of electricity, it's also in rising crimes, runaway corruption, and an unbearable and worsening economic hardships. Too many people are unfairly suffering because of the incompetence and irresponsible leadership of President George Weah. On Wednesday, SM Brussels, one of the only two flights to Europe from Liberia, we all know that, came close to crash landing at Rabat International Airport due to lack of electricity at the country's only international airport. The plane, reported to be low on fuel, had to abort landing at the dark airport to return to Freetown, Sierra Leone. And actually, I was texting with somebody who was on that flight. And, I wanted to share our exchange, but the person was a little hesitant just in case. And that's what's really crazy, right? There's a lot of fear. There's a lot of fear of people. A lot of people don't like what's going on, but unfortunately, they are scared. So as we read, Mr. Cummings say, we thank God for the safety of the passengers and crews whose lives continue to be threatened by the incompetent and irresponsible leadership of President George Weah. President Weah has spent more time partying and playing football than leading the country. That seems to be a fact to me. I don't know what your thoughts on that. It was telling and a national disgrace. I repeat, a national disgrace that the two flights which aborted landing at the Dock RIA went to neighboring Freetown, Sierra Leone for rescue. Like Liberia, Sierra Leone has seen a share of war and destruction, and we know that. However, at the moment, the difference in the development of the two war-weary nations is in the levels of incompetence and irresponsible leadership of the Liberian presidency and administration. President George Weah has not only failed and continued to embarrass our country, but also he has made our country dangerous to travel to and even more dangerous to live in on almost a daily basis. Mysterious deaths and unsolved murders are being reported. Streets and communities are unsafe due to rising unemployment and crimes. Senator Weah, who declared himself unable to pay child support, has become a president buying properties and building private cities for himself and his family. Officials in his administration are following the bad examples of the president as stealing in the government reached new and shameful levels. Like President Weah, administration officials are shamelessly displaying unexplained wealth while Liberian families are struggling to find food to eat, pay rent, buy fuel and gas, pay hospital bills, and pay children's school fees. Too many Liberians are becoming beggars in a country blessed with so many riches. That stuff about becoming beggars is no joke. Everybody basically is begging. While the Weah administration officials are matching their boss men in displaying unexplained wealth, civil servant salaries are being cut and delayed so that they cannot even pay their way to work over the working month. MCSS is being told to raise its own money to improve government schools. Doctors, nurses, teachers, police, and other civil service men and women are underpaid and under-resourced to do their works. Public hospitals and clinics are without medicines and beds, and schools are without much needed support so that the quality of education to our children is among the worst in the West African sub-region. So he reasons, obviously, President Weah was not ready to be president. Even worse, he continues to show that not only will he not change, but under him, Liberia will only get worse, and the suffering of Liberians will only get worse. If governments were corporations, George M. Weah will be fired, certainly, and if they were corporations, probably he would never have been hired. On the football field, George Weah brought our country so much pride and joy. But as president, he has made Liberians' lives miserable. He has made living conditions of Liberians unbearable. He has made our country too dark and too dangerous. President Weah has betrayed the trust of the Liberian people, including the young people who saw hope in his remarkable story. And the CDC, we saw a changed leader in him. This sad reality of incompetence, inability, and betrayal, all Liberians must now come to face together, not as parties, not as political parties, but as a nation made dark and dangerous by our boy King. So he says, we like Weah for the footballing memories, but we cannot like him at the expense of Liberia. It's time to love Liberia more. I certainly agree with that sentiment. In 2023, therefore, we must thank President Weah and relieve him of the heavy burden of presidential leadership we place on his unready and incompetent shoulders. We must vote Weah out and set to rebuild and reorder our country. 2023 is the time to begin the process of real change in Liberia, to end the stealing in government, to light up our country, and to make our streets and communities safe again. With real change, we unite Liberians, improve living conditions, lower the high cost of living, and gainfully employ Liberians by creating jobs and paying decent living wages and salaries. Liberians deserve better. Liberians truly deserve better. Real change is coming. So we see there the sentiments of Mr. Cummings. And these sentiments are not only from Mr. Cummings, they are from a significant number of Liberians who are passionate about where this country is today. And many of them are feeling like we are on the precipice. That means we just at the point where everything drops off. So as a people, that is something we have to be very cognizant or very aware of, and be able to share that information with other people. Mr. Cummings has a simple English version to this particular statement that he will be sharing, or he will be reading himself. I don't know what. But it's important that all of us who care must be able to say what the reality is. There must be a government that identifies its priorities. I was reading today a meme from somebody, and they really put it into perspective. Where does the priority lie for this president? Okay, why is he not focusing on what should be his focus? So look at what this person said, and this is Babulubo Amula. Modern, and he put a quotation around Modi in a satirical fashion. Playgrounds, dilapidated primary schools in a poor country with 65% plus illiteracy rate. So he's trying to say there, what are the priorities of this George Manuel Weah? We appreciate the playground. Again, somehow I have reservation about the location, because I have been working with different people trying to rehabilitate basketball courts around the country. Because it's important for kids to have that outlet, to have some level of recreation. But why will you put a $3 million, quote unquote, $3 million? Because personally, I don't think, that facility is $3 million. But let's assume it's legit, $3 million. Why will you put that down there? Especially with the underlying risk involved with the proximity to the airport, considered an international airport. Really, Springsteen is considered that. When we have all these schools, I saw a picture of a school in Basso just the other day. A dubbed place where they dub it with mud, and many of it exposed. The teacher, he's trying his best, so we gotta appreciate those people who are sacrificing their time to teach our children. But what he's teaching is probably recycled ignorance, because he himself probably did not learn right. He does not have the requisite ability to teach our children for them to be competitive with other children the same ages. Our people are too smart for us to be subjected to this level of forced ignorance. So the Liberian people have to generate something, some kind of passion, some kind of desire to say, look, we want better. We want a difference in our country. And that's why I have to share this article with you. This article is from Angasi Dwalu. I can always forget his last name, but when I get to the article, I will get his last name. It's mind blowing. It's touching. It's really about where we are as a people. Can we really operate with common sense, just naturally? I'm not talking about in-depth critical reasoning. I'm just talking about common sense. Can we operate at that level where people are aware of what's happening and they are trying to move towards a place where they can make, rational decisions? Can we help our people get there? Because everybody is not there. It's not an easy thing. Common sense is not common. But let's look at what Dwalu is saying and, try to understand it. It's not an easy thing. We as a people, we are going through a lot right now. And it's important that we share with people who we care about. We share with people who may not understand what are those things that happens. So the title of his thing is Liberia, and an appeal to Liberian common sense, right? And it's Ansu Ogasi Dwalu. He says, what an old man can see sitting down, a boy cannot imagine, even if he climbs to the top of the tallest tree. My grandfather will whisper to me in our native Gola as he swings in a hammock. Forked between two kola nut trees in our home village. And everybody, most of you should have had that experience of being able to be in a hammock. So you know what it means. You relax, you chilling, you in your hammock in the village, or even in Morovia. Some people set up the hammocks there, but it's just a very relaxing thing, slightly swinging, the breeze blowing, is the land to sea breeze or the sea to land breeze. Anyone, take it. He continues again. That's why he made a statement. This forest holds many secrets, but it only reveals them to those with the discipline and commitment to earn its trust. So you see, this is somebody who believed in the earth, right? He continues. The memories of my ears ringing from the echoing drum beats of the harvest festivities as we kids looked on in awe as the ceremonial mass dancers transformed into Yefie and Wetu, mesmerizing the crowd with their magical renditions, bellowing fires from their mouths and heads, spinning the dust as if to awaken the ancestors. The women sing and dance in one accord in celebration of a successful harvest. There is still that nostalgic feeling from my childhood where common sense was so common. Oh, how I long for those days when Liberia had meaning and common sense, respect for established norms, and immediate punishment for offenders who dared to challenge the ancestral spirits. Society was maintained in a structured and constitutionally balanced way to serve all and not just a select few. Where have our senses gone? That's a wonderful question. Where are they gone? He says, there is now a total disintegration of the family unit and all we held dear. And I totally agree with that. Or disregard of the teachings of the elders. We have sidelined every custom and tradition that held our society together. And that's not only the indigenous custom and tradition, but also the borrowed Western custom and tradition that we have assimilated to our society to serve as standards. He continues, Liberians have allowed unsolicited, defiled outside influence to distort everything that is sacred. Our entire society has fallen apart. Nothing of value carries any weight, including the most important of them all, the rule of law. Liberia has become a lawless society mainly because we continue to give power to vagrants and kleptocrats. So while Mr. Cummings was labeling, incompetent and lacking leadership, Dwalo is hardcore. He said, our current leadership, they are vagrants and they are kleptocrats. But the absence of the rule of law, you can't argue with him. The unexplained murders, the increased rate of crime without any serious operation, legislation, policy trying to speak against the level of crime that is being imposed on our people. And it affects everything. People cannot leave their home early, they cannot come home late. Market women get robbed trying to get up early to get to the market first. Now people just go at a time where it's daylight and they're hoping that people don't rob them. But what did we see the other day in broad daylight? These young men with cutlasses in the street, and this woman is blowing alarm. It's really tough. It's really sad. He says, we shun upright and accomplished men, but give positions of trust to criminals and murderers. That's a fact. I mean, the fact that we did not even have the guts to do a war crimes and economic crimes court, that means we're allowing these criminals to sustain, to thrive among us because they have that edge. Supposedly they stood for the people they represented. But you can represent people and just violate other people, kill other people, abuse other people, injure other people, meme other people, denigrate and degrade them with all kind of humiliating experiences. So he said those things are no longer encouraged. but rather these traits have become abstract concepts, far from the appreciative understanding of nearly all in the country. The clergy is no exception. In fact, so-called men of God are more egregious than most. And he's saying the fact. What we see, men of God, some of them raping, some of them stealing, some of them doing some crazy, crazy stuff to our young people, as well as to their congregation. He says, the population spends its productive hours in quasi-churches / mosques, waiting for the miracles from vain men masquerading as pastors / imams. Our entire society has been turned on its head because criminal politicians are placed in positions of trust by most gullible voters who sell their votes for rice but remain hungry when these greedy politicians are dishing up the country's resources. Where is our common sense? And that's something we have to tell the voters. That $20 at election time, that bag of rice at election time, is not worth the 6 years of agony, the 6 years of raw pillaging of our resources. It's not worth it. We have to collectively awaken in our people the consciousness of what it means to be nationalistic, what it means to love your country, what it means to be patriotic, what it means to be a responsible citizen. So many things you have to do. That's why I always advocate the civics program that Child Steps International, currently Civics and Services Incorporated, has created to share with our people. Okay? So he says the all-powerful president continuously circumvents the Constitution, lies and steals from you, tells judges how to rule, destroys the very fabric of the country, and yet you wallow in your slumber. Where's your common sense? Again, common sense is not so common because there are even people who are praising in all this failure, still praising George Weah. Papa, you're strong. Papa, you're doing good. That, I don't know whether that's uncommon sense or that's stupidity, but there are many of them out there. The Speaker of the Liberian House of Representatives refuses to release a document that the entire House voted on and approved for the establishment of a war economic crimes code. I mentioned that before, to remedy some of the injustices in the country. And yet, you, the people, especially those who are being affected by this war, are silent, while this walking contradiction single-handedly hijacked an entire country. Where's your anger? Even forget about anger. Where's your advocacy for the right thing? When will you speak up? When will you gain voice? Women and kids are raped every day. Our young people are killed at high noon and denied the necessities of life without any redress. And yet, you claim to be Christians and Muslims. Where are your religious principles? There was another lady, I watched a video the other day. She was crying for her son. She said the people claimed her son was ruled and beat him. But yet, there were parts taken from his body. So how often do people be ruled and they do ritualistic stuff with robes? The country is really in a bad place. Incompetence is now misconstrued as leadership. 95% of you are unemployed. Yeah, in Liberia. Airport and seaports are barely operational. The businesses that should be thriving, state-owned businesses, they are close to dead with a collapse of nearly every governmental institution. Yes, you cannot even find an annual report on any of these places. You cannot even find their websites updated. Some don't have websites. Some of them are not operating under the mandate of which they should be. It's very sad. There's a collapse in governance here. Yet, you sit feeling sorry for yourselves. Oh, now he raises Ellen Johnson morale. Where's your Ellen Johnson Sirleaf thunderous fist pump? Yeah, that's an image that resonates with Liberia. It's been there a long time. The legislature and the entire government rob and keep you in bone-crushing poverty. And yet, you sit shivering under your leaky tin roof shack and claiming to leave it to God, while your children die from hunger and disease. Newsflash, God will not descend from the heavens in all his glory to come solve your problems after he has given you dominion, God-like powers over all things on earth. Where is your God-given vengeance? And I don't subscribe to physical vengeance, but where is your advocacy? Where is your resistance to bad governance? Where do people stand? Too many people are scared. Everybody is not hired by the government, and everybody should be scared to be fired. Yes, there are some business people who, if they even voice or say anything, the government will stop their business, will destroy their business, will do everything they can to limit them having their customers. That's true. And we respect that. But everybody cannot operate on a fear. You got to get something out. Know that everything rises and falls on leadership, and that's a fact. With bad leadership, you have a bad organization. Good leadership, you have good organization. And then in our country, we'll have like a unitary state and an imperial presidency. Yes, especially presidential leadership in a unitary state as ours. National command is not child's play thing. One cannot make a babbling idiot your king and expect the fruits of leadership. Liberians must open their eyes and employ their God-given common sense if they want any future separate from what we currently have. Okay? He continues, people make crucial national decisions entirely based on feelings. It's all emotive. For some people, emotions are like him at this. No real practical reason as to why. Then they add religion to it. Then they add tribe to it. And then the liquor table affiliation, the people you flipping with, the people you hanging with, the people you getting high with. Those are the ones that matter. When national issues, patriotism, nationalism, volunteerism, all are put to the side. Granting someone the authority to execute in your name must be weighed with full consideration of the totality of the issues, to include the person's capacity to deliver that which society seeks, his past experiences, and whether or not she or he has a proven track record of delivering at a high level. Have they shown that they understand the essence of leadership and how to employ those tenets to get the desired results? What is this person's socioeconomic standing in society, and whether or not he gained that standing in observance of the highest integrity standards? So he's saying the rogues then, don't take the rogues then. The criminals, don't take the criminals. Those people who don't understand what leadership is, what governance is, how government is supposed to operate, or have the ability to meet the needs of the people and expand the economy, don't take them. Use your common sense to gauge who you give power. It's a matter of life and death, and that's a fact. So we see what he's saying. It is not far from the truth. It's really not far from the truth. Okay? I don't think, Jimmy Dan, I'm promoting President Weah. We are explaining here some of the flaws. Without question, we can articulate Mr. Cummings' vision, what he's talked about, the key things, building a 21st century Liberia, being able to change the hearts and minds of our people, being able to improve our education system, being able to improve our healthcare system, and being able to create jobs for our economy. We have discussed all of those things. Okay? We have discussed those things, but we also have to point out what's not happening and why it's not happening. And a major part of it is the fact that President Weah is incompetent, and he has not surrounded himself with competent people to support him. He said that himself. Nobody forced him to say, yes, if I become president, I'll hire competent Liberians to work with me. But there's a distaste for competent Liberians. So Lofa can come, Lofa can stay. Mr. Cummings didn't do anything to Lofa. Vice President Boyka and the entire United Party people did not support Samukai. That's why Samukai was treated like government boom. And he lost his seat. But we were in a relationship. We were in a contractual agreement that was documented and presented to NEC in the framework document. So you can have a contractual agreement, you just violate the tenets of the contract, and you expect people to not say something or not do something, Jimmy. No, that's not how it works. You have an obligation when you choose to associate and you associate in a structured form, and you put pen to paper and document how that relationship is supposed to go, you can't just exit the relationship without conforming with the terms and requirements that's stated in there. No, you can't do that. That's not how it happens. But there were a lot of other things in the news, though. There was seriously a lot of other things. I know some of you saw the fire, right? And it's just so amazing that, somebody got to go live and be crying for the fire service to come, and no fire service coming. No fire service coming. I don't know if you're. I don't know if you guys saw how intense that fire was. And again, it's about governance. It is not only starting with this government. Let people not make that mistake. The past government had that ability because they were at the onset of starting a new republic. They have that ability to change things. Unfortunately, they didn't do it. And now this government, instead of trying to find the expertise to do some of that, has shunned away many Liberians who are competent. And use this, you got to be on the ground thing, that those other Liberians across the world in different places are disappointed because you limit them from contributing to their country. So it's important that we talk about these things, the limitations, the zoning, the way people build. If you see the houses, I think I should share this seriously. I really think I should. Because if you see how the fire was erupting, it's scary. Because that can happen in any community, any neighborhood. It can happen. And what happens to our people? They lose their property. They get hurt. Some people may die. Some people may suffocate. You see the lamentations from this lady? Look how the fire will spread going towards the left. See fire spreading? See people bringing their stuff out? There's probably no running water anywhere. Okay? Look at the containers there. This is, and for you to just watch other people's property just get destroyed, that you can't do anything. Look at all that smoke, all that fire. We need to do something about how we build. Government need to have standards, and they need to enforce those standards. See the fire increasing to the left? And who knows if somebody have had something explosive in the house, and all those people standing right there, you have been blown out. So these kind of situations, we can only continue to pray, because at this point, that's all people got. That's all they got. She's still crying for fire service help. Let me try to mute her. So the poverty situation we're in is not easy. Our people are not getting the benefit of this rich country we have, because the little we're getting from our resources is not being used for the people. The stuff we get from the donor is not being used for the people. And at the same time, there's no innovative thinking to expand the economic pie. So we are just trapped in agriculture that should be a stronghold for us, because nearly 72% of our people are in that sector, but they're all in the mom and pop slash and burn kind of agriculture. When do we elevate them? When do we bring technology into agriculture? When do we integrate the natural stuff we have, all the water we have, all the sunlight we have, integrate solar, integrate fabric technology, integrate better planting and rotational methodologies. Try at least to identify those areas that have comparative advantage in the growth of certain crops and be able to use that to move the agricultural sector forward. Build centers of excellence, decentralize the agricultural structure that you can have extension of facilities in the different districts, if not even then the counties. Let the county agricultural officers do a little bit more, have more expertise. It takes work. Agriculture really does take work. It's not an easy thing, but it is one of the fastest way our economy can move forward. Got all these different programs that have come, Feed the Future. They got all kind of sweet Star P, this one, the other one. But yet our farmers cannot get elevated. They still giving them classes. Instead of decentralizing something, have a clearing machine or derouting machine in different locations that can help these people, that the productivity on their land can be maximum, because somebody use chapia to cut the land, those trees are still there. They're not able to uproot those trees most of the time because of physical labor. They just cannot do it. So how you move the sector forward? By bringing in some level of mechanization. Nobody say you can mechanize everything. Not every farm needs to be mechanized. But in terms of the clearing, in terms of the preparation, in terms of the harvesting, we got to move away from the cutlass. We got to improve the people's life. You know, and we can't depend on the NGOs to be able to move our agricultural sector to where we want it to go. No, we got to have our own vision. We got to have our own vision that agriculture is so integrated. It includes road development. It includes the provision of electricity. It includes the provision of water. If we can just understand that and do the due diligent planning around it and have that strong vision and pursue that vision and implement it, there's so many things we can do. India right now is one of the huge producers of flowers to the rest of the world. You think we can get in that market? We are closer to the West than India. We can get into that market. We produce cocoa, quality cocoa. We can get into the chocolate market. Again, we're closer to the West. But we got to have our airport now. Okay? We produce significant amount of rubber in our country, still one of the highest producers of rubber. We got to push for fires to have value addition in our country. All of those things create jobs. And you know, that's what the person was asking. Yeah, that Mr. Cummings' solutions. He offers those for our young people. They focus on technology, changing that environment, that we can have business processes outsourced to Liberia because we can develop them. A lot of technology stuff is kind of rote now because technology is so advanced. It's just you understanding and being able to run reports and touch some things and monitor, know the indicators for systems X, Y, Z, and be able to do, you know, anything that somebody in the West is doing. But we have to have an enabling environment. Our government has to be willing to educate our people, to teach our people up. There are so many people who can never go in the classroom again. But that does not mean they're not smart. There are many young people out there between the ages of 19, 20 to 30 are very smart, but they need to be taught. They need to be, go through some kind of testing to find what the real potential is. Where is their skill level? And how can you elevate them to where you want them to be, that they can be impactful citizens? The effort has to be put in. That's what Mr. Cummings said. He will pay attention to our young people, to our market women, to our disabled people. They are talented. They have the abilities to be high-performing citizens. It's just about, do you provide that baseline for them? Do you get them to that level? Can you help coach them up, teach them up, provide some level of startup resources? Can you partner them with people in the diaspora? Can you embrace the quality, the talent, the experience, the expertise, the knowledge of people in the diaspora and match them with people in Liberia? It's all doable, folks. It's all doable. We really can do it, but it takes commitment. It takes hard work. It takes some people spending serious time in the planning part to make sure that execution is smooth, to make sure that we can implement, not just talk. Not just talk. It got to be more. It got to be more than that. And that's what development is about. It's not easy. It has to be planned. That's why I push for the legislation of a development plan. Because every president can just start one thing. Every president can just start one thing. No, the law got to force that president to conform to certain things. If our priority is we got to focus on building our human capital and being a service-oriented country, we build our human capital. We demand that all the children selling in the street, they don't sell in the street. Make it illegal. You can't be a vagrant. You got to be in school, or you got to be in some kind of technical school, or you employ. We got so much idle productivity just sitting down. Idle. There's so much stuff that's just natural to us. Moringa is a superfood. We should be exporting moringa by galore as much as we can to other places. Everything we got. Oh, what the other person doing? Planting. Cassava. Cassava is one thing that grows in Liberia just basically anywhere. Cassava has thousands of uses, from creating chemicals all the way to being something edible. We have that, but we don't utilize it. Why? Because we don't have innovative thinking people in leadership. We don't have people who want to work for the people. We have people who want the people to be their servants. And then those same people are insecure of all those other Liberians out there that have the vision, that have the talent to make that difference. They don't want to embrace them. So let's touch on some of the other news in this week. We know the situation between the Justice Minister and his subordinate, Serena Cephas, the Solicitor General. You know, again, Mr. Cummings was on this show with Spoon, having a very good interview, and he was being asked about the court case. So Mr. Cummings was clear. The situation in the court is a joke. You know, Serena Cephas is there trying to persecute him, not prosecute him. He's grandstanding. He's making unnecessary comments. You have not adjudged the case, but you say the person is a criminal. The decision is already made. All of that, ridiculing, making a mockery of our justice system. So Mr. Cummings targeted him and says Cephas is the one responsible for this. And as most people are who are always attacking people, he's sensitive. So he texts in to Spoon to explain himself. And we know what that explanation led to. Explain how he was not responsible when this was the man who been boasting about this case, that he had all the evidence. He said they quashed the case before that. I mean, they rejected the complaint from Bernard Ure and whoever his chairman, Tito Momo, that Mr. Cummings altered the framework document. Or no, they didn't bring alteration. They brought forgery and criminal conspiracy. That were the charges. Forgery and criminal conspiracy. Baseless charges. And what happens? Cephas takes it up and he says that the Attorney General, the Minister of Justice, Frank Musa Dean, who reinstated the case, and he's just a frontline general implementing the case. He mentioned some personal things in there about job security and all kind of stuff. But he's changing his tune now, you know. So it's just sad that we have in governance people who have no morality, no integrity, no ethics, even in their profession, that is a hollow profession that's very protected. They are the only profession in Liberia where only Liberians can be. Only Liberians can be lawyers. Foreigner can practice in our country. So he's in a privileged class. Even if you're a dull lawyer, you're supposed to do well in Liberia. Even if you understand the law, there will be case for you. So as much as I want everybody to go into the technology and the sciences and the engineering, the math, the economics, if you want, go be a lawyer because you guarantee your job. But trust me, if you go into technology, you are guaranteed multiple jobs. You are guaranteed international jobs because they will come seeking. Africa is the new horizon that needs to be a new space that needs to be discovered that has all the potential. We are the fastest growing population in the world. We are the youngest population in the world. We got the potential, the combination of everything. We got the physical, we got the mental, we got the intellectual. We are resilient people. We just need good leadership to thrive. If we get good leadership that demands performance, demands conformance with the law, will implement and impose the law on people if they try to be different. If we can only get that in our country, we'll be very fine. Very, very fine. Also in the news, the UP protests. UP are saying if no UP, no elections, no UP, no elections. And that's a recipe for chaos. They can't stop the elections. I don't think they have that ability to do that. So the whole story, like I was telling you, you can't be in a relationship. But let me just take one step back. It's seeing Frank Muzadin, who wrote in a press release asking his Solicitor General for evidence to prove that this case was supposed to be taken to trial or taken to court. How can you say you're justice minister and your mandate on the executive law is for you to be the one to take the case to court? Have a case taken to court under you that you don't know of, supposedly, quote unquote. And there's no system in your ministry, no case management system that you can just go and pick up a folder, or you have a computer system or computer case management system that you can go and say, oh, what the file name? Oh, is Government of Liberia and ALP against through Uganda Ure and Tilo Momo against Alexander B. Cummings, Daniel Flomo Netin, Aloysius Stowe as ANC. You can't do that. That you got to write a press release. You got in the ministry with your assistant or your subordinate. You don't deal with him there. You write a whole press release out to the public to embarrass you that you don't have any idea what's going on in your ministry. Anyway, President Weah don't even know how to fire anybody. He ain't ever. President Weah is weak. That's what leadership is. That's where leadership comes in. President Weah is very, very weak as a leader. Takes no action. He's disconnected from the reality of the country. And until people can wake up to that reality and realize the kind of leader we need in our country is really far behind. Really, really far behind. And what the guy said, oh, I gotta find that from the the Harry Monoba. I think the Harry Monoba Jr. I gotta find that clip for you. It's interesting. Because he says Liberia is behind a country that are way behind. Okay. We are far behind. But you know the good thing about it, we really can catch up. We can leap over many things. We can leap over many things that are happening out there. So let me share with you what Harry Monaba said. We got a lot of people talking the right things. We need action. Okay, so let me just start over so you don't miss anything. All right, here we go.
When we can't even follow something as simple as traffic laws. Think about it. By the time there's small traffic, what's the first thing people do? Lawmakers jumping opposite way. Government officials opposite. Taxi drivers opposite. We as Liberians can't even follow something as simple as that. And then we say we want a better country. It will not happen. It will never happen. Let's even if we were to look at rape, for example.
So you heard what he said. It will never happen until our mindsets change.
Right now, man rape, what would be the first thing that would happen in this country? The family will go to the other family, let go big. That the devil fool him. It won't happen again. And then you'll think we'll be able to develop the country that we want. There's two issues in this country. If we don't fix it, we will never be able to fix implementation and accountability. We do not implement, and when we don't implement, the people who are responsible, we don't hold them accountable. Liberia is way behind the countries that are way behind.
You hear that? Liberia is way behind the countries that are way behind. So we are way, way behind. Seriously, folks. He's not lying.
I hope you understand what I'm trying to say. We are way behind the countries that are way behind. So that should tell you something. That should let you know that we have so much work to be done. But let's forget government. We as individuals have to be the one now to look in the mirror and be able to say, what am I doing to improve my life? What am I doing to improve my life, my community's life, my country's life? These are the questions we have to be asking. Forget government right now. Government been around since 1847. There's people still sleeping in darkness. There's people still going to bed with hunger. So let's forget government. Think about yourself. Improve your own life. Improve the life of your community. Then you will start to see a better country. Then you will start to see progress. Then you will start to see the country and the nation that we want. We must become the change that we want to see in our country.
So you heard it, and he's on point. Though I believe that there are other issues with us, I believe our mindset has to change. When our mindset change with regards to all the things that we have to do, how we have to respect certain things, how we have to do things a certain way, or not that way we can do it yet, then we know. Because one of the, let me so come and say, one of the first things he will do is appoint a police director who will implement the rule of law. And that's critical. That is very critical. Because you can condition people to think a certain way. You can condition people to do things a certain way. If all those traffic law violations were not accepted, if we will have community policing to protect people in the community, have police there, he will resource the police. He will provide the resources. He will increase their forensic capabilities, expose them, and send them for training and have the equipment. Right now, most of the police officers, you talk to them, they have nothing to work with. Not all the police people are bad people. Not all of them want to be begging and stopping people in traffic. But when you underpaid and your family expects you to do certain things. You are the breadwinner, and you can't even bring one loaf of bread for your people. It's embarrassing. Can you imagine a man standing that hot sun in our country? They're going to be standing that sun whole day. They say they're directing traffic, or they're doing this because we hardly got traffic light. In the night, because insecurity, they to checkpoint, they are scared to go in the communities then. Police presence deters crime, except if that police is a participant of the criminality. So we have to beef up the police. We cannot let them be partners, especially those who are supposedly high up in the police, who are partners with the criminals out there. Because I don't want to call that Z word. With the criminals that are in the communities, the people, the drug dependent people, the people who are selling drugs to our people. And the rule of law is ubiquitous, it's all around, it's pervasive. If it breaks down, everything breaks down. Everything breaks down. Communities break down, families break down, offices break down. The rule of law is very critical. And how we think about it is very important. Most people don't respect our police. And can you imagine if police want to arrest you, they say, let me get in your car and go with you to the station? Our police are not prepared and not equipped. That has to change. That's a change. And that's part of the mindset at the leadership level. And you can come down to the people. You got to come down to the middle level managers too. What are they thinking? What do they want for this country? What do you want for your country? What's in your heart for Liberia? Is it just you as an individual getting rich? Is that what it is? Is that your idea of a good country when you as an individual, you rich, you probably in a fence, and the rest of your people then got nothing to go with? No. It's really your wealth is really about what you do for other people, how you elevate other people, how you impact other people, how you provoke their mindset, their thought processes to expand it. It's critical. It's really critical. So this Friday, I just want to say, try to have some fun, enjoy yourself. I'm going to enjoy myself tomorrow. One of my best friends passed away. Mr. Mark Carton Carr, a while ago. And he's being honored by B.W. Harris School. And we got a table to participate in the event. Some of us will be there, some of us won't be. You know, these are COVID times, these are difficult times. So anytime you can get out there, you know, like be with other people, interact, is a good thing. Just take a mask to make sure you protect them. So we'll be in the Newark area tomorrow, trying to engage our friends, some we have not seen for years now. So if you have the opportunity to engage other people, do so. And I appreciate the B.W. Harris Episcopal High School for being able to honor my man. My sister went there. She passed away. They treated her nice in her passage. So I declare myself at her funeral an honorary member of the B.W. Harris family. So I'm with them, even though I'm a Fox from the College of West Africa. But hey, we actually are all one people there. We may come from different orientations, but we are one people. And let's try to keep that in mind. Let's start to build more love, more friendship, more relationship. And sometimes even if you angry with people, you piss off, but sometimes you gotta let some of these things slide. But let's find the right solution. Let's be able to come to the table and have this discussion. Even for me right now, with all the noise that's going on, the best direction for the country is for the Unity Party and the ANC and the Liberty Party and probably even the ALP, if they can, come to terms with the egregious situation that they have created. There's still room, there's still time for the opposition to come together, for them to make commitments, for them to chart a course for the direction of this country. Because at the end of the day, like they say in the second round, nobody winning first round in these elections. Nobody. I don't care how the government won't rig the election, the government cannot win first round. Everybody crying about that. No. But if the opposition are committed to us moving to a better paradigm, shifting the way we govern today to a new governance situation, they are able to win the elections. It's not impossible. I, for one, I already believe we can talk. Well, I always believe we can talk as human beings, but we must be committed to the discussion. We'll be transparent with it. We must be able to argue vociferously, vehemently, but at the same time not get angry and stick with the issues. What are the sticking points in us moving forward? Those are the kind of things that we can come to the table with. Oh, you want to be president? Why you want to be president? What is your vision? I want to be president. This is my vision. Why we can compete? Why you got to come to entitlement? Competition is good. At the end of the day, people have to compete in the larger picture. But if at the end of the day, you guys cannot even come to terms, then be able to say, look, let's compete fairly. If you win, I'm there for you. If you lose, I'm there for you. And have that mutual understanding. It's not impossible. Yes, some of the followers may not come along. But if the rationale is made that if you assess the opposition candidates today, they represent a better option than the incumbent, then that mindset has to be there. We can't shy away from having these discussions. There's nothing wrong with people in the Unity Party criticizing Mr. Cummings. You know, people get overly sensitive. He's a political figure. Mr. Cummings is a tough guy. Many people don't know, they don't understand. He's a very, very tough guy. He's not sensitive to all the stuff that people say about him out there, that people feel like, oh, they got to be overly defensive. No, they don't have to be. This is a man who elevated from somebody nobody knew to become the chief administration officer of Coca-Cola. Why you get angry? You can just get angry with people when they insult him or they criticize him. That's part of politics. That's part of politics. Trust me, he's a tough guy. Let's try to stick with the issues. Let's try to see what are the sticking points in billing. May not be necessary, you know, one opposition part. Because let's be honest, people do have dreams, people do have ambitions, and some people don't want to compete to get to that point where they can actually, you know, drive and follow and seek and pursue the ambition. No, some people don't want that. They just want that, get in the race. But if we can have those discussions, yeah, get in the race, I get in the race. But my man, I really respect your ability. I think you're playing golf for Liberia is good. I just feel mine is better. But if you win me, I promise you, I'll support you. So we need to get to that point as opposition. Some people have left the collaborating political parties, but I think there's still room for others to come on. There's still other political entities out there that are relatively strong, that can join the CPP. Or even if they stay independent, there's still room for us to work together. We got to decide which way is the best way for Liberia and pursue that. Is it an incumbent? Is it another leader? Is it a specific leader? All those conversations have to be had. So we should never run away from the engagement or the discussion around leadership for our country, because everything rests on leadership in Liberia. I don't care what you say. Everything rests on leadership. Until you can get a leader that can allow the individual institutions and the other branches of government to operate within the mandate as they see fit, without interference from the executive, Everything depends on that one leader. And if that leader is not a strong leader in the interest of the country, who will make demands of people, who will ensure that people execute their functions or they are released of that portfolio responsibility. If we cannot get that kind of leader, the country goes down. The country goes down. We have a lot of people who have post-traumatic stress disorder. A lot of people who are affected by the war. Now it's going down to the second generation. I don't care who you are. If you're in your house every day, in your mind, apart demonstrating certain behavior, that behavior kind of falls to you. If it's a violent behavior, you become a violent child. If the only way they will resolve anything is to fight each other or to beat each other, to hit each other, that child coming out that way. And that's what happened in our society. And now those children are having children. So we got 3 generations that are being affected. So we got to find a way that we can bring change. We have to find a way. Look, Ricardo Cotu, thank you. The problem with a lot of our people, they go with the hype. The first thing, they started with the rip thing. They even read a book right. Okay? The book is a biography of somebody and what they said. The man has never disputed anything that was said in that book. No, he hasn't. But if you read that book, I would say every child I know who's struggling, if they can follow that path of consistency, of focus, or wanting to be something like George Weah did, that would be great. We have many successful Liberians. His commitment to practice, his commitment to training, wanting to be the best at what he did. Trust me, Joe Weah wants to win at everything he does. I must say I'm a very competitive person. I want to win at everything I do too. But when I lose graciously. But not everybody's a gracious loser. Only Joga Bowl. And I disturb the whole bowl. So Joe Weah before become a competitor. You can't be cheating, and that is sick offensive or the beginning around Joe Weah. You can't be cheating me, but I'm picking up me. I know they you cheating. They are just let you cheat. On what ground? On what grounds should I do that? That sick offensive, like I myself telling myself I'm stupid. And that can't happen on my watch. So people got to understand where we are. As an athlete, as somebody who carried the flag for Liberia and brought joy to our Liberia, Joe Weah was great. Even as a friend, you see Joe Weah will adapt to anything. You put Joe Weah in the ghetto, he will engage the people there. Right? So that kind of man, with all kind of extracurricular activities, he's fine. But he never had experience leading, and some of us made a big mistake. We really believe that the love of the country that we saw in him were going to move towards the presidency. No, it became a gold mine for him. And that's the mistake. And that's why we got to keep sensitizing people that you really need leadership. You really need experience. You really need capabilities. You really need network of professionals who can bring things to the table for you. If you can't do those things, if you can't reason like Dwalu said, Ansu Dwalu, like he said in his piece, common reasoning he's begging Liberian people to bring to the table. But again, Liberians will have to look at the situation. Am I better today in 2022 going on 2023 than I was in 2018? If it's fine for you, fine for your environment, fine for your family, you continue to support the president. But if you know that you feel that economic deterioration, you feel that deterioration in healthcare services, you feel that deterioration in the education your children are getting, You feel that deterioration in your business opportunity. Everybody that market person in Liberia right now, because everybody just hustling like that. We're not moving the development needle. We're not moving the human capacity building needle. We're not moving the innovation needle. We're not adding value to what we have. What are we doing as a country? RIA was dark the first time. What happens? Big Show, the chairman of the board for the aviation agency, the Minister of Information, Minister of Justice, Minister of Finance, and quote unquote Prime Minister, Minister of State for Presidential Affairs, McGee, plus the technical director, that same young lady, my friend, who was in India 6 years ago, looking at the model they have for solar plant to support the airport with electricity. 6 years later, not implemented. But they had a big show. Put up information explaining, blaming the previous government. Once you take over, it's on you now. That's why we came to power. That's why we pushed for the CDC, because of change. We want to change this country. We want to right these wrongs. We want to make sure every Liberian can have an opportunity to have a sustainable life, have jobs, everything like that. It is doable in our country. Our country is small but well off. We are able to create that business environment, that economic environment, that social environment that everybody can thrive in a different way. It's possible. But you got greedy people at the top, you got insecure people at the top, you got incompetent people at the top, and they don't try to give other Liberians the opportunity, because sometimes government can be messed up, but his government is hands off and allowing people to be innovative, people to be enterprising. That if I bring my investment, you're not coming to try to take half of my investment before I even start working. No. And we got to look at that. There are Liberians who want to invest in Liberia. The investors are not always foreign. That's why other investors, they call it foreign direct investment. But there's domestic investment. There's investment of your own people that can bring to bear. We got a significant number of well-off Liberians who are willing to invest, who are even willing to invest in an integrated fashion. There's so many young Liberians on the ground with great ideas, good business sense. They just need a little bit of support. They just need a little bit of strategic advice. They just need a little external support where you can probably open markets for them. So the opportunities are huge. There are people who are producing products in Liberia that are better than products anywhere or comparable to products anywhere. They could be sold in the international market. But are we trying to help them find those markets? Are we trying to open opportunities for them? That's part of the responsibility of the Liberian government. We got so many trade arrangements that they can focus and say, look, there's palm oil sector here. All the people who are doing cosmetics over there, we're dealing with them. We're engaging them. All the palm oil producing here, we'll sell it. If they want to add value before you get to them, we'll do it so that the price can increase. We need that. We need that. That is the way we can move our country. And Mr. Cummings believes in the young people. He believes that he can create opportunities for them. He believes that they can be trained. He believes that many of them can be rehabilitated. And it's possible if you listen to them talk, but you got to isolate them from the environment they're in. You can't take them from here, you get them to church today or to rehab today, then you bring them back in that same environment. They will fall back. It's not easy to resist the negativities in that environment just a few hours away from the environment. No, you fall back. So we applaud all of those who are helping to rehabilitate our young brothers and sisters. But with them staying in the same environment, the chances are slim. The chances are slim. But we're not finished talking anything in one day. So I want to say just watch us on Wednesday, George Family and I. We have another show. This is the Week in Review exclusive where we try to summarize what happened during the week. On Wednesday, George and I discussed reimagining Liberia, rebuilding Liberia, restarting Liberia. You see, George and I went to CWA. George was 1 year ahead of me at CWA. George is a very smart guy, knowledgeable of a lot of stuff. He remembers a lot of stuff too. He has a lot of engagement. He brings a lot to the table. And he's very straight up. He's opinionated. And that's fine. We disagree vehemently sometimes. But that does not stop us from engaging. That's the level of emotional intelligence most of us need to have. But disagreement, we're not enemies. Sometimes it's good for you to think your idea is the right one, the other person think the idea is the right one, and you can argue about it, and you'll get to the point where, yes, okay, stay with your idea, I will stay with mine. Or have an open enough mind that if that person's argument has strength, is backed by facts, is backed by numbers, is backed by research, you capitulate. You go over to their side, say, my man, I see your point. Oh. It's not impossible. It's not impossible at all. So we just have to get to that point where we can deal like that. But this is exciting in terms of how we can continue to share, how we can continue to motivate and inspire some people. There will always be people who will get angry. That one you got to expect it. Okay? There will always be people, I don't care what you say, that hello said, they can turn it to, oh my man, you called me stupid. It's possible. So we can't worry about people like that. You can't get mad at them either. Let them operate on a different level, on a different plane. But you as an individual, you got to use the power of positive thinking. You got to be focused on what are your plans? What do you want to do? What do you want to pursue? What do you think your better skills are? How can we move from that beggar mentality? All those mindset things we talk about. That's what we got to focus on. Who can deliver? Who has shown that success anywhere else? That we can believe that they can deliver. Liberians, we have, like Dwalu say, we have to arrive at that common sense point. We have to build it up. We have to help other people develop that. Common sense is not common, like he says, it's not easy. Some of the things that some people see easily, like he was saying about his grandfather. That probably can be sitting on the ground and looking just in the dirt. But that knowledge that he and the stuff he knows, that people who in a tree or in a skyscraper can't get it. It's not easy. It's not like that. Also, I can tell some people, some of the things that I have forgotten, you never even learn it. Because you're limiting yourself. You got to humble yourself and expose yourself to knowledge for you to get there. For you to be able to do some of the things other people do. For you to be successful. There are many people who can be your role model. There are many people who can be your mentor. And sometimes you got to seek them. They don't just fall in your lap. Like I was talking to one of my young friends the other day. I wanted to connect him, but I gave him warning. Don't go to the individual asking for things. Don't go begging. That's not the way. Build a relationship. Network. If that person sees there's a need that you have and they can fulfill it, they will. Most people are generous. But if you come in just to hustle them, that you feel that first initial engagement, you got to get something from them, it doesn't work. It doesn't work. Most people didn't take anything from on a tree. Most people who have something work hard to earn it. So they're not just in the process or in the behavior of throwing it away. So you have to appreciate that. You got to build the relationship, earn some level of confidence. Because for some people, trust is hard. Because there's so many screw up people who now mess up their whole belief system that they don't just trust people. But when you find that person who there are certain things with them that you align with, and for me, I found that in Mr. Cummings. There are so many principles of his that are really aligned with mine. His vision of Liberia is like parallel to mine, really parallel. So I don't even need for Mr. Cummings to tell me, so many things about his vision. I can articulate a vision for him. He's the best person because he's the arrowhead. He's leading. He can tell you. But based on what I have seen and what I know, selling Mr. Cummings is easy. It's really easy. And I hope other people can open their eyes to the potential he holds for the country. Of all the people out there that are in the race right now in terms of moving our country forward, just do your analysis. Just look, do your critical analysis. Make the comparison. Don't take my word for it. Look at experience. And I'm talking about valued experience. I'm talking about just being somewhere for 10 years, 20 years, 30 years. No. Look at network. Look at individual ability. Look at presentation and articulation of the viewpoint. Look at a breakdown of each of the different challenges and what the person is offering as solutions. We gotta be critical. We can just give people a free pass. That time I passed long time. For just give people free pass, we can take our country. We got to question them. So find a hard questions from Mr. Cummings. You gotta push him. Yeah, you can push your leader. You gotta expect certain standards. You want excellence for this country. So you gotta push your leader. So on that note, keep pushing. Let's keep trying to push for a better Liberia because that's the only way. We can't lose this opportunity to move our country forward. What's happening now, we're on a decline. And like some people say, we're on the precipice. If we mess up, we'll flip over. We'll not even know Liberia as it is today. In 10, 15 years, it will be worse. Some people are even scared that the environment that is being cultivated right now is fertile ground for chaos. But no, our people are tired with those things. We don't need it. Anybody who has that kind of idea in their head, they should be trying to disabuse themselves. Because anything can erupt and mess things up. Yes, I believe in protest. I believe in demonstration. I believe in the freedom to assemble. I believe even when necessary to exercise civil disobedience. But I don't support that whole armed struggle. People playing funny thing they know. Let's let democracy work. Every iteration, every election cycle we go through, we just hope that our people can build up and improve and be a little better. So I'll leave you with that. Today, Friday, I go get one or two things. I'm going out of town tomorrow to hang out with my man in New Jersey. So I hope you have a wonderful weekend. We'll see you on Wednesday with the Rebuild, Rebrand, Reimagine Liberia show with George Family. And for those of you who are available only on Fridays, we'll see you next Friday. So peace. One day I'll be in a classroom, but my problems though when it comes to teaching, I really can want people to learn. So I can keep myself trying to teach them. So the Ballot Bat is the best option for us. Y'all take care. Have a wonderful weekend. We'll be talking.